Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are and whenever you are. Welcome to the community live stream. My name is Chuck Tomasi from ServiceNow. I am the ServiceNow guy with this bow tie coming to you live. This is, Wednesday, October 9th, 2019. I am in sunny Phoenix, Arizona, where the sun is coming up a little later each day. So thank you for joining me. I am just going to change this view. I can't seem to change much of anything on here. Let's get started. Once again, we seem to have a YouTube streaming issue. I am streaming somewhere. So, pardon. New microphone position. So if you are watching on YouTube, thank you very much. We'll get this straightened out sooner or later. Go over to the link there, subscribe, turn on the notifications, and you know what else to do. Like it if you like it. Share it if you want to share it, subscribe, and turn on the notifications so that you get notifications, unlike I'm getting on my phone. No notification yet. So we'll see what happens. We'll get this straightened out. I need to do a little more testing during the week. Thought I had it all figured out. Fresh new feed, tying into that. Don't know. So we'll get it squared away. Until then, I'll post the recording right after and you can watch that. Or you can do what Steve in Sweden did and watch it on Twitch, although he said the audio and the video were a little out of sync. Apologize for that. Not sure what's going on. Hopefully it'll be better today. I'm not well, you know what? Maybe I am able to interact with you. Let's go over to Twitch, not Twitter, Twitch, and bring that up so that at least I can see what's going on. Are we live? We are live. Is there a chat? There is a chat on the side. We'll see. Stick your comments in there. It always works as a backup plan until if you really want to watch live, that's where we're going to watch live. Good for you. If you got more than comments, a good morning, hello, how are you, to say on Twitch or YouTube, certainly go over to the community, post your questions there at community.servicenow.com. We'd love to help. There are hundreds of thousands of experts all over the world that are at your disposal to answer your questions. So community.servicenow.com is where you want to go. If you have more than that, I invite you, if you want to dig in deeper to being a ServiceNow developer, go over to developer.servicenow.com, free developer instance, developer meetups all over the world, free learning plans, lots of great content over there to kickstart your career or to advance your career and advance your learning so that you can be more proficient and provide better solutions on the Now platform. It's pretty cool stuff over there. Looking forward to doing some of these meetups around the world as we go around to the different events. Just got a message from James Neal. He will be doing a meetup in London next, Tuesday night, Wednesday night? Part of, now if you know what, we could probably find out. He announced it. If we drill into London on this map, it's going to say when the London meetup is. Easy as that. Okay. It's going to have a meetup as part of Now at Work on Wednesday at 6 p.m. So if you are in London for Now at Work and you want to see what the developer meetup thing is all about, I went last year, can't go this year because of a family commitment. Look forward to that. And hopefully I will see a lot of these wonderful, wonderful people at Knowledge in Orlando next May, which happens to be what I talk about next. Let's put that title away first. Meetups, more meetups, and seminars and webinars and snugs over at servicenow.com/events.html. I don't know, my title's quite right. That should have gone away when I picked this. I'll make sure that happens in the future. Knowledge is our big conference every year. The Now at Work ones are smaller ones around the globe where we come to you. But this one, you got to come to us next May 3rd through 7th in Orlando, Florida. Hope to see you there. Lots of hands-on labs, lots of networking, lots of subject matter experts. Product managers will be there. Developers will be there. You can ask deep questions. You can ask high-level questions. There is something for everybody, whether it is the developer and system administrator in your organization or the CIO. Everybody's got something there. Be sure to bring along your HR people who are in charge of service delivery. There's HR service delivery in ServiceNow. Customer service management. Bring your customer service management and direct managers and directors to Knowledge so that they can bone up on what the latest is, get the value out of the platform and out of the packages that you've purchased. So next Tuesday, not next Tuesday, the week after Tuesday, the 22nd, after I return from my travels, my first set of travels in this quarter, we will be doing a guided app creator to show you the new and improved way of starting applications in New York. Very easy, very step-by-step guided. Jeremy Duncan, our newest team member, will be doing a quick tip for us, showing you some things you may know and some things you may not have known. I'm just going to leave it at that. I want to leave a bit of mystery so that you tune in. We do the quick tip on these episodes, usually inspired by this, by the community, so we can go, hey, I thought I knew everybody knew how to do X. Wasn't it in foundations training or something? And turns out it may not be. So join us for guided app creator. I almost said guided tour. No, that's a totally different thing. bit.ly/TN69Reg and Jeremy's quick tip. Looking forward to that. Any code that I write today, if I'm doing any scripting, I will stick that on a GitHub repo at bit.ly/sn-cls, the URL that you see on the bottom there. In a dated folder, it would be 2019-10-09. So year, month, day format, so that it sorts accordingly. You can find any scripts there. If there's no folder, it means we didn't write anything. If there is, you can take those scripts, copy them right off of GitHub. You don't need to fork the whole repo unless you're crazy like me. You can take that and take them, make them, break them, have fun with it. That's how we learn. So I got started a long, long time ago. If you are new to JavaScript and you want to get started, maybe just play around with some of those scripts and go, what in the world is Chuck doing? Most of them aren't very long. I mean, they're sometimes 3, 6, 10, 12 lines of code, small enough that you can digest them and understand. This would be a good place to start taking those apart. Watch the video series, Learning JavaScript on the Now platform, that I put together and released last July, that can help you get started with that. Learn the syntax, learn the basic methods, how to do looping and objects and arrays, and then you can start wrapping your head around the APIs that are available to interact with the database and send messages to the screen, that kind of thing. So bit.ly/sn-learnjs is where you'll find that. I already punched that up, and that is the last thing we're going to talk about on the screen. Put up the community. Let's get started. And we'll say ta-ta to YouTube for now. All right, this is our community over at community.servicenow.com. And Steve says, still can't see you on YouTube. Yeah, I don't know where it's going on YouTube, Steve. It's streaming. It's the light's green. Where it's sending the bits, who knows? Got the bandwidth this morning. I'm going to try a couple more things tonight. We'll see if we can resolve this. I do have one thing in the inbox. There are some conversations that are ongoing that I like to keep on top of. So I'm going to open up the inbox. Let's see if my cursor pointer is working today. It is. Newcomer to ServiceNow support and encouragement needed. Article posted earlier. They said, hey, I am new to ServiceNow. I'm not much on the virtual training. Where should I get started? So reading through some of these comments, you may have comments of your own. This isn't a technical question so much as, where do I get started? Great question, by the way. And if the mailbox decides to load this up, I'm going to refresh the screen. Once in a while, the inbox page or widget gets a little wonky, I've noticed. So there it is. Usually it comes up pretty quick. And I'm going to open this up as its own page so we can read it in its entirety. Good day. I'm brand new to ServiceNow, and I am in a super fast, I assume that's supposed to be fast-paced, online course, and I'm having such a hard time learning everything. I'm not a virtual learner and really need to be in a classroom with a human teacher. Would anyone be able to offer any encouragement or support for me? Thanks for everything. We got an answer here from Neil. He says, hi, Danielle. I'm not sure. I'm sure I'm not alone when I say that the coursework and online training courses are difficult to keep up with if you're not used to the product. But think of it as a crash course. Put in the overtime and ask, if you have a live trainer, of course, how long your instances will be available to work on. Make sure you download and read all the documents, Make sure you download and read all the documents your training program supplied, and try training with your own development instance of ServiceNow. after it's all over. Don't forget to grab up any update sets you create to review them after the course is over in your development instance. Don't give up. They are short and we struggle at first, but you come out the other side with training and some newfound skills. I equate this a lot to like a language. If you go in and it seems daunting at first, learning a new language, but if you learn the basics, you learn the fundamental, you learn the syntax, you can get a lot done, and then you build on that basis and learn a little bit more each day. We all started out this way. Okay. I said if you're looking for instructor-led training, we do have a link on ServiceNow.com for training and certification that leads to a lot of that. We do offer training in a lot of locations. A lot of our partners supply that training. So Blitzberg79 says, "Hi, Danielle. Welcome to the community. You've got us." Nice. I like that. That's beautiful. That's a great way to do it. So we've got personal developer instance, as I stated at the top of the show, developer.servicenow.com. There. We've got training over at servicenow.com. And we've got, do we have a message? No. Sorry. Thought I had a, you know what? I'm going to mute the audio on this. Where's my, there. Don't need a bing and a ding every time something comes in. I saw a YouTube icon. It was for something completely different. I get a lot of notifications from YouTube. Let's move on. That was our response of the day. So nice to see that conversation moving forward. If you've got questions, again, go to community.servicenow.com. They don't have to be technical. They could be, hey, where do I get started? I'm looking for information on X. Let's do that. If you have an idea and you want to know, is this technically possible? Put that out there, because the right answer may be, yeah, well, you can. It may not be the right thing. So need help with a catalog client script? Let's take a look. Always willing to jump into a script, see what's happening. Here's the requirement. Tables, accounts, service commitment, and line of business. Each line of business can have multiple service commitments, but have one default service commitment. Where am I looking? Each line of business can have multiple service commitments, but have one default service commitment. Service commitment is a related list on a line of business table. Accounts form have a reference field to line of business. My head is starting to hurt already. So here's the catalog item. I don't know if we can see this all. Accounts is up here. Service commitment is there. No direct connection between accounts and service commitment, but service commitment form have account details. On the form, when user selects accounts, if the accounts is available on a service commitment, and if it's a default service commitment, it should populate the value in the service commitments. This sounds like another Glide Ajax thing. Okay, good. They supplied a form here. This is a related account. So you do have a list field. You could have more than one. Ooh, because that's a list. All right. Because the account, the related account field, and how do you know what the default, what was it? Default business service? Default service commitment. Where is that? Oh, it has a checkbox. Okay. You're going to need to employ Glide Ajax in one or more, let's try that, client scripts to fetch the right data when someone changes the value in a quote-unquote parent field. Let's put a link to Glide Ajax. You know what? I think that's available on Docs. It is. And there we go. I'm not sure why it's in Helsinki. I want New York. Maybe the page isn't available in New York. Maybe. Glide Ajax. There it is. I'm going to have to look at that V3 client. I don't know if that's a whole new class or what's going on there. So copy link HTML. Put that there. Actually, I didn't need the whole HTML link, but, and let's put the link we did yesterday, bit.ly ServiceNow Tech Now. Get that link to episode 33. And copy link, HTML. One challenge I see is that your, what was it, related account field is a list field, which means you can have more than one value in it. More than one value. Values are comma separated sysID fields. What do you want to do when the same account shows up on multiple records, or the one business, what was it? One service commitment has, I can never spell some of these words with double letters in them. I always get the double letter in the wrong place. It's been plaguing me my whole life. Service commitment has more than one related account. This docs page and YouTube video may help you get your head around Glide Ajax if you've not used it before. I don't need a capital I on it. Before. It's not going to play with me. It's not going to... All right. There. Well, sometimes autocorrect does that. Or when you're logging in, it makes your login uppercase. Like, no, my login does not start with a capital C. Sorry. Let's do that. One down. See where that goes. Does anyone have a Visio or workflow mapping of how product/service manager uses the enhancements list? IT operations management, SG offline plugin not working. Field type, schedule, date, time. What is that? That doesn't feel like an IT business management. I found a field type in the fiscal period table with the type schedule, date, time. Is this field type deprecated? I'm not able to find any documentation on this type of field. Interesting. Let's go look at the docs and see what it says. There are a lot of field types that just aren't documented. Database field types. Is this the list? String, string, string. There is no reference of schedule in here. Is there date? There's date, date, time. Those are stored in, there's my inbox, there's my personal developer instance. I'm going to back that off just a little bit. And those are stored in sysglide object. The tables are in sysdb object. The fields are in sysglide object. The label started with schedule, and there is a scheduled date time. What do we know about that? We know that it's got a label, it extends string, it's got a class name of scheduled date time. Not a lot. Let's see if there's any dictionary entries. Fine, we'll do this. Can't spell dictionary, just spell what you can. And find out where the column name equals schedule, date, time. CMN schedule span. Oh, I have seen this before. So if we go to, so schedule has these various periods. You can say, hey, this is my schedule. These are the holidays. And the spans are when those holidays are. So let's go take a look at CMN schedule. So when you say it's going to take, say, 3 business days, you skip over the weekends. Your spans are what makes up those periods. So the schedule that says, say, 8 to 5 weekdays, right here, very common one that we've used in many exercises, has these schedule entries down here, these come off of the table CMN schedule span. And these have these type of fields, when and to. When is the MN schedule span. That's not what I was looking for. What was the field that was on here? Let's do show dictionary again. Configure dictionary. Roaming around looking for this stuff. Scheduled end date time. It may not be used anymore. It may have been replaced with something else. What was the other one? MN? There was like an MN field. That didn't make any sense. What is that? Right click. MN schedule span. Do you see a start date? I wonder if this is, there's got to be something in the form layout, like a UI policy that's hiding those fields. When is end time? End time is not on the form. It may not be used anymore. What do you say we have some fun and just put it on there? It was end date time and start date time were the old ones. So if I put those on, it's just a date time field, it looks like. It's got the old widget. I would say they're deprecated. Look at the old widget means, look at the difference between the UI, sorry, I went backwards. The UI on, not that one, but see the icon here, and the icon here. This is like old stuff. I can tell just from looking at it. And I believe it's been replaced with this. So even though this says 2008 77 1700, 2008 77 800? Okay. Oh, start time, end time. I put them backwards. 800 to 1700. It looks like this thing, but what is that? MN schedule span. Oh, so it doesn't fit in there. That's why it's so weird. That's bizarre. This thing's having a hard time rendering the field name. It's called CMN schedule span. Thought that was an odd field name. All right, configure. I'm going to get ready to Z-boot this thing anyway. Dictionary. What is CMN schedule span? What was the name of that field? I am having memory problems. CMN schedule span. That's not a field. What is that? A macro? Let's look at the form layout again. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Repeat scheduled. Show as. Scheduled date range selector. That's got to be a macro. It's got to be a macro. Scheduled date range selector. And then it probably populates. I'll bet. You know what? I'll bet it works with those two fields. I'll bet there's a relationship in here. If I put start time and end time back on there, I haven't played around with schedules in a long time. It's kind of fun. And I change, see how this is 778 to 77 1700, matches those. This macro ties into that. So let's change this to 710 and 710 and see if the other fields are, ooh, that's why macros are nice. Save that, and start and end time are tied to that. So there's a UI macro that's doing that for us. What was it called? Scheduled something something. I really ought to copy and paste these names down because I'm not remembering very well. Schedule date range selector. So go to UI macros. Schedule something. Oh, doesn't show. Show the schedule when CMN schedule field reference is not null, activated by blah, 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 blah. Okay, don't know where that is if it's not in the UI macros. We have to find out. We have to find out. Okay, so that's one place where they're used. Let's see if we can find another one. See if my dictionary is still in there. Table, 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 dictionary, entry, type, label, schedule, date, time. There was another one on a variable in sysflow step definition. Still used, but I don't know where. I don't know what the difference is. Let's see. I'm going to refresh this because I suspect some other people have been looking at it. Not much. I found an example of them on the out-of-box field, on the out-of-box table, CMN schedule span. They appear to work like standard date time fields, but may have other behavioral attributes behind the scenes. The schedule start date, what the heck was it? Now I can't remember. It was on the schedule entry. Start date time and end date time. That's what they were called. The start date time, start date, not state, start date time and end date time do not appear on the form. Instead, a UI macro populates them from a cleaner, smarter interface. Do you have a need for such a field type, or just curious? Let's find out. More info. How many times did somebody ask a question and I ask a question back? Well, that was interesting exploration. See what we can find there. Specifying worksheet name for Excel export. I don't think you can specify much of anything on an Excel export. Hi all, I have set up a scheduled export to export some data to Excel. However, I have just been made aware of a requirement that the worksheet needs to have a specific name in order for the data to be consumed by the target application. Currently, it looks like ServiceNow names a worksheet page 1 when exporting to Excel. I have done a code search and cannot find this anywhere on the platform and have found nothing on the community about specifying a worksheet name. Does anyone have a possible? Okay, let's. This one could be interesting. That's done via a processor. I know that already. So the processor has export assessment, export board, export rota, export. Not seeing it here. Why am I missing it? All right, there's another way to find it. Export assessment. We want, what is it? There's a command parameter. I think the parameter is XLSX. So let's find the record where parameter contains XLS. See what we can find. There it is, Excel output processor. It is in Java, which means we really can't configure anything. The way I found this once upon a time, just to give you a little insight of how I came across this, is if you look at incident and say open, and then do your Excel export. You say configure export XML. It is, I thought I had a way to figure this out. No, I don't remember. Sorry. Hey, somebody told me one time, if you do this incident under list.do, you get the whole list. If you start putting things onto the suffix and you say question mark XML, it will show that to you in XML. You could do the same thing in JSON. I think it was JSON v2 now. Nope. I messed up. I put a slash, not a question mark. So question mark, JSON v2. There's your JSON for those records. if you want to hit that endpoint, it's very much similar to the way that every table has a REST endpoint. Every table has one of these processors as an endpoint. Although processors are a precursor to REST API, and they're not as smart, you can't version them. They're very static. But you can say SLXS, question mark, XLSX, and it will generate you the Excel file. So that's the little trick behind that. That is handled by processors. I believe TechNow episode 20 was on processors. I'm going way back. Processors. 21. Sorry. I think it was the first one I did when I moved into this house. Or not. So where were we going? We were going after processors and responding back to this. It is currently not possible. Currently not possible to specify a worksheet name. The export. Come on. The export is triggered from a processor which runs Java code. Let's not restart right now. Let's restart, try tonight. Does Java code behind the scenes. If you would like to see a parameter to name pages, then I invite you to open up an enhancement request. Okay. It's surprising how many of these things have been around forever that suddenly get some love in a release because people say, I need that. Whoops, didn't mean to hit that key. Let's go back to that. I was reaching over for my tea and I hit the keyboard. It could have been disastrous. Whew. We have another message in the inbox. What do you say we go take a look? Refresh the inbox view. Keep the conversations going. Need help with catalog client script. Christina writes out, because she's the author, and says, thanks for your input. One related account should be linked to only one default service commitment. Should being the operative word. You've got a list field. It's going to happen. One related account be linked to multiple non-default service commitment. So when they add a related account, which is already part of the default service commitment, we should populate and notify them that they are editing the default service commitment. That's easy enough. There's going to be a lot of scripting involved here. In order to sit down and do this, it's probably going to take an hour or so, but I need to have some consultation. Kind of goes beyond what I'm capable of doing on this show on the community. So I understand what she's trying to do, I think. Let's go back here, try a couple more of these. And I'm going to jump into the developer community. Not the developer portal, but the sub-community, the sub-forum on here, and look at unreplied. Check permissions on table client side. Oh. I'm aware you can check if the current user has specific role, G-user has role, but is there a way to check if the current user can perform a particular operation on a table? I.e., can the user create for the same table? Example usage. Say I have a UI page that has a button to create a business capability that opens a default form to create a new business capability. If the user cannot create a business capability, I'd like to just hide the button. There are multiple roles that could grant this ability, including roles, so I can't just check if the user has a particular role. You want to do this on client side. I would recommend using server-side code in something like, I think it's a the glide record. I know what it is. Glide record method can create to determine if that user can create. E.g., current.can create, or whatever. Replace current with your glide record variable. Then hide the button, much like a UI action does, if the user does not have create capabilities. This way, you are not showing them something on the form that they cannot do. This is best practice. Overthrowing errors. Okay, why would you put a button on the form to say, hey, create a new business service, and you click it and it says, I'm sorry, you don't have permission to do that. Well, why did you put the thing on the form anyway? You can use, if you're doing the jelly code in the UI page, you have complete control. Granted, I don't normally subscribe to these complete kind of customizations like this. Why are we using a UI page? Why aren't we using UI action? We won't get into that. But customizations are going to be costly. Somebody has to come along later and maintain that. And jelly isn't the most widely available skill on the internet these days. So there, I preached. I'm done. Performance analytics in the developer community. Probably should be in the performance analytics area. I've created a dashboard with monthly and daily indicators, which are running on monthly and daily frequencies respectively. Widgets are showing the scores for both the indicators. You'd probably have more luck putting this in, not to be a complete ass about this, but performance analytics and reporting. Let's link to that. There we are. There have been 17 views in the developer portal. You might have more luck deleting this post with no replies, but my own, and reposting it in the, what is it called? Analytics, intelligence and reporting. We renamed it again. Analytics, intelligence, and reporting section of the community. There are a lot of smart people there. Unlike the people here who can hardly type. I am just going to link the whole thing. KV paste, new target, done. They're answering the question, but I'm helping them get closer to one. That's the important part about helping. Even if you don't know the answer, help is on the way. Let's go to, I think we can try one more before I go into a different topic. Did I not just answer that? Or did I close the window before I responded? Wow. Or are there two of them? Hang on. Did they do the sinful thing and post it twice? Yes, they posted it twice. Vasant's ready. And I'll bet there's another one coming up in unreplied. Please don't post more than one question at a time. This is the same question, right? Yes, this is the same question. Oh, he did version Madrid, then he did version London. Please observe good community etiquette. Etiquette. I still don't know if I'm spelling that right. And only post your question once. Multiple posts. Multiple posts make it difficult for others to respond and you to reply to their responses afterwards. People may not find the right answer. You got 5 to choose from. I can't find the one that's answered. I got 4. They'll give up. Okay, be nice, be nice. Response in the inbox. I'm going to go back there. Okay, I've had enough time chasing that down about the etiquette thing. One more look in the inbox. Thank you, Steve. Specifying worksheet name. Let's, I hate to do this. They marked it helpful. I'm going to put a response on there. I know it wasn't the answer you were looking for, but it is the answer. And then ask them to close it out. If you would be so kind, please mark it so that others can find that. I'm always thinking about the people downstream. Okay, quick change of topic. Let's go into our deep dive. I just like playing that. Okay, I want to talk to you about a service portal AngularJS thing that I learned recently. That was kind of fun, kind of interesting. And I'm going to bring up the service portal configurator, make myself a new page or a new widget. This widget is going to do just a couple of simple things. And when you're iterating over a list, sometimes it's nice to know where you are in that list, and the list being an ng repeat thing. So let's do, there's already one called simple list. Let's call this, here, we'll put it in my scoped app first. Let's not do that. Let's go to CLS 528, which is now going on about 5 months old. Go back to the service portal configurator. And while the widget editor is coming up, create a new widget called CLS list. There we go. We'll create a test page. That's fine. I'm not going to get concerned about the label versus the name. And here is our server script. Step 1, let's go get some records. We can do that very, very easily. Inc.gr equals new glide record. From incident, you can probably guess from my variable name where these are going to come from. Then, I'll try and make that a little bit, that doesn't render so hot. Okay, Inc.gr dot order by number. And then inc.gr.query. Let's put those in just a simple data.table. So while inc.gr.next, we'll just put the numbers in an order. Very simple list. We could probably put this, the var obj, we'll put the short description on there too. New object, then say obj.short description equals inc.gr.getValue. Sorry, I didn't mean to shout it out like that. Short description. Make sure I'm spelling everything right. obj.number equals inc.gr.number. GetValue, sorry, GetValue. Very important in Service Portal that you remember GetValue, because it's going to pick up that object and go, oh, I'll make another object within that object for you. Not what you want. You want these values. And then do data.table.push. Oh, I don't think data.table was specified yet, so we need to declare that. Don't put a var. Data is already known. Oh, it already knows data.table? How does it know that? I'm going to declare it this way. Let's see what happens. OBJ, put that in there, and that's our server script. Let's go over to the HTML. We don't need a client script. And there is a thing called ng-repeat. So I'm going to do div ng-repeat. This is the way you iterate over a for loop. And I'm going to say inc in data.table. So there's all my records. And if I simply say curly brace inc.short description. Now let's do the number first. Inc.number is how we address the thing in data.table.number or .object.number. It's going to iterate each one of those items out into this, and then I can address them as separate things. And then inc.short description. Okay, very simple list. Save that. I'm going to turn on the option to enable preview, and there's my list of stuff. Turn off these options. No, turn on the options. There's my list. Incident 1, can't read email. Kind of get the idea that I've got a nice list. Couple of things that you may want to know is, where am I in that table? And there are 3 things that ng-repeat can provide to you. One is the index. So if I was doing a for loop, this would be like the I variable as I'm going through an array. Well, this is an array, and this can work that way. So if I want to print, say, the number of the record, I'll put index out there. So let's save that and see how it renders now. And I get 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I say, well, most human beings don't start counting at 0. They start counting at 1. Fine. Add 1 to the index and you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 like that. So now you know where you are. Sometimes, as in an application that I just wrote recently, let's put that away now that we know we've got that. You want to find out, am I on the first one or the last one? Because you may need to do something conditional based on that. And I could, in fact, do something like span ngIf $index equals $first. Okay, that says, hey, am I on the first one? Then in that span, I will put the word first and go on with that. Save that. And then the first record should have this word first and none of the others should. And it didn't work. So my ngIf is not evaluating correctly. Is the word first in here anywhere? It's not on the first one. It's not on the last one. It's not on any of them. Curious. Oh, you know what? That's because it's a Boolean. Never mind. If I remember right. There we are. It's a Boolean to say, is this the first record? So first will be Boolean true if it's on the first record. You see, I get the word first here. And I could do the same kind of thing for span ngIf, you got it, equals $last record. Okay, just some way you could trigger this, put it in a div, put it in, say, hey, I only want to put this star next to this record if it's the first one because it needs to be triggered as the first one. And when it's done, it doesn't become the first one anymore. You can see where this is going. Lots of logic you can put around just knowing if I've got the last record, then let's go trigger something else, or let's display something else, a little different way to do that. So that's first and last. There are 2 Booleans. That's also index, which is a counter. You can modify this. I use it quite regularly when I'm doing lists. You can see, did I take, I think I took it out. I'm not going to show you that example where I just used it. But very nice to be able to use that rather than trying to say, I don't know how you do that. Because, data.table length, it does have a length. You could say length is data. Oops, that's inside the ng-repeat. I don't want that inside the ng-repeat. I guess you could potentially go data.table.length. Could you set up your own counter? I don't know. That would be weird. How you would get 83, we should see 82, 83, there's 80, 83, yep, that works. But I don't know how you would get first and last without knowing those 2 Booleans. So some little insight into Angular and some tools you can use in your service portal widgets to do that. I think that was all I had on here. Oh, here's an example. You could also say if it's not first, so you could definitely negate these. Let me flip that around a little bit and say not first and not last. If you put a not in there, you can certainly use, they are Booleans, so you can use Boolean logic on these, which is going to make this list very interesting because the first one is not last, and everyone else is not first and not last, and the last one is not first. Okay? Not terribly useful, but you can see how you can turn that logic around. You could also put those into, is this not first or not last, doing some logic like that. So I was doing these as a way to reorder items in the list and say, you can, if you're first in the list, you can only move down. So I present an icon to allow it to move down. If it's last in the list, you can only move up. So I don't present that icon to reorder up. And then I pass the index to say, here's where you are, and here's where you're going. So the last one is the first one is going to move to a higher increment. The other one's going to move to a lower increment. You kind of get the idea that once you're off of that first top level list position, you could then be going up or down. So there is something wonky with that, with the way that I'm implementing that in terms of the script. So I have to find a better, more different way of doing that, because if you click the icon a couple of times, it goes up, 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 down, 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 because it hasn't gotten a response back from the server by the time you're issuing these requests. That's something that I need to learn in terms of Angular, as to how to almost do a synchronous connection to say, I put in this request, don't allow me to click anything else until the response comes back. Looked into a couple ways of that, but I haven't implemented them yet. The other option might be to switch from an asynchronous REST API to doing the c.server.update. Don't know if that's synchronous or not. I'm going to find out a little bit more when I talk to some of our smart service portal people. So that's one little thing that I learned about Service Portal this last week. I'm going to call it there. It's a little bit early today, but based on the technical issues we're having with YouTube, I'm okay with that. And I will talk to you again real soon. Let's go big screen. There we are. I will talk to you again real soon, probably tomorrow if the technical gods are smiling upon me. Until then, thank you. Have a great day and code safely. All right, take care. Bye.